Welcome to Come Havoc number 2. My name is Janice Williams Jr. This video is my final video for tonight, so I'm going to break this down for you. There's a difference between being able to fight and thinking you can fight. And also, as an independent filmmaker and an actor, there's a difference between what works in the streets and what works in the dojo. And that's what this video is going to talk about. I will try not to keep you too long because it's like 3 minutes past my bedtime. It's like 2 after midnight. So, here's the thing. I've been fighting since I was 6 years old in the streets. That shit's not a joke. You will never find any video of it because back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, no one could afford video and no one had cell phones. We had those rotary bitches. And I can see someone now trying to go outside with a fucking rotary and try to record this shit. It's not going to happen. So when I was 7 years old, I started learning martial arts. That was before and after getting bit by a horse. But when I was 6 years old, my uncles on my mom's side used to make me fight neighborhood kids. And other black kids had to fight other black kids. So that was like a thing in the projects. Alright? So just in case y'all don't know, my nickname was Jonah, like the fucking cowboy from DC Comics. Or like the guy that got swallowed by the whale. Yes, there was a lot of jokes behind that shit. But that was never my real name. My real name has changed. That's just the name that everybody knew me by until I got to school. And when I started going to school, I started going by James. So in kindergarten, I started going by James. But I got that nickname because I gave it to myself. I was reading comic books at 3, and the first comic I ever read was Jonah Hex. I wanted to know what the relevance is to that, right? Well, the relevance is when I was doing all those street fights, they used to call me Jonah. J-O-N-H-A, Jonah, or A-H. However the fuck you want to spell it, that's what they called me. Anyway, so I was the mixed kid that had to fight people because I was mixed. You're not a real nigger, you're a half nigger. We beat up half niggers. There you go. Those were things that were also said to me that made me have to go and beat fucking people up. But also it was either you fight them or you fight us. And all of my uncles were up here. And I haven't gotten any bigger since I was 6. Okay, so let's move on. I know that I can fight. It's been a long time since I actually been in a real fucking fight. But I know I can fight. Alright? There was a couple of people who didn't think I could fight, and they found out the hard way that I can fight. There was a bunch of bullies in high school that didn't think I could fight, but then they wouldn't show up to fight me. Y'all know who the fuck you are. Some of them are even taking MMA as we speak. I'm still waiting for you to do something stupid, by the way. When you know who you are. Because BNR don't lie. Anyway, thinking that you are a great martial artist and knowing that you are a great martial artist are two different things. I walk that line. I'm in the middle. I don't think I'm a great martial artist. I know I'm a great martial artist. But I don't go out here trying to prove it to everybody. Although I know, if possible, if need be, I can. Now here's why I say that. Out here in the streets, there are no rules. There are no belts. There are no dojos. There are no referees. There are no people telling me I can't do that. Now when I say that, let me take it back to the early 2000s, late 90s. So what a lot of you aren't aware of is that I did put in applications for places like UFC, MMA, didn't exist at the time. The only place was UFC, Pride, ISK, shit like that. There was one tiny little problem. I only weighed 115 pounds. There was no super flyweight for martial arts. There was no super phantom weight for martial arts. There was none of that shit in the UFC, and I couldn't get arrested getting there. Now, over in Asia, I didn't have any money, so I couldn't go there, but there was a guy that was just a little bit bigger than me. He's like 5'5", about 25. And him, and either his sister or his wife, whatever she was to him, they kicked everybody's ass. They fought people like the Kamala. They fought people that was as big as The Rock and whooped their ass all through the 90s, all through the middle 2000s, where they stopped. I think they probably stopped fighting somewhere between 2010 because they had been fighting since like 1990, 1989. They racked up a lot of money, and over there, only the people won got the prize, but you didn't get the prize until the last fight was done. And this is what makes it interesting. The female fought just as much, if not more, than the male, and both of them always won the purse, but they never fought each other, which is something I couldn't understand. but the female fought men, yo. And she was like 5 feet even, and she was beating the brakes off of big ass dudes. Like they won't shit. Here I am, at home, 19, 20, trying to get into UFC. Shit won't happen. No, I don't have rejections. The internet was a thing, but it wasn't like a major thing, and I couldn't find my way around a computer, but I could find porn, and I could find all these sites and shit, and I fill out an application, and once I put my weight in there, it's like, you're not qualified. You don't weigh enough. Get your weight up. That's when that fucking phrase started coming out. Get your weight up. Get your weight up. Well, my metabolism did not allow me to gain weight until I hit 37 years old and hit the military. So, I didn't gain weight until I hit 37. I stayed 121 pounds from the age of 19 until 37. So, yeah, 121 pounds. And they didn't have that class until after my hip replacement when I was like 40, 41. And now they have it. And this hip replacement, no fighting arena in the world is going to let me be in that ring. And no one's going to insure me. And no one's going to follow me. No one's going to sign me for any of that shit. They're like, nah, you a liability. So you can't do that. Plus, I need another hip replacement. So there's the salvation of that. Alright? Now, back in those days, those was the days of BJ Penn and all these other guys. And they're lightweight. And their weight was 135 to 140 to 200. Same thing with the WWE. You had a cruiserweight and a lightweight. And that was like before WCW got rid of it, or before WCW lost to WWE. And there was cruiserweight in WCW, and the lightweight was in WWF at the time. Now, I couldn't do that because I didn't weigh enough. And I didn't know that they had small men wrestling unless they were midgets. And the midgets even outweighed me. The average midget weighed in at $150. You see all the skinniness here? Yeah, that's how that worked. So again, as I get to the guts and glory of this video, knowing how to fight and thinking you know how to fight, dojo rules versus street rules. First off, every fight is situational. But when you are in a controlled environment, such as the UFC, you're in a cage, you have rules. And about 3 years ago, after my hip replacement, I talked to one of my friends who talked to a friend who was in MMA, and they were talking about it, and it's like, so, what will you do when someone comes in to tackle you? Because most people try to ground and pound you. There are no real strikers anymore. They probably are now, but when this was happening, everybody was flipping the script like Tito Ortiz and decided to go ground and pound versus the strikers. Me, I'm a striker. I'm not down, and a counter striker. I'm not down with no goddamn ground and pound. Not down with that shit. Fuck that. You're not getting me on the ground, and I ain't letting you get me on the ground. So, the guy was telling my bro, who told me that, you know, if somebody's coming to scoop slam you, you just gonna get slammed. And so my bro asked me, he's like, yo, what would you do if someone comes down to scoop slam you? Because, you know, they gotta grab you here. Now, being that I was in the Army, when they was teaching us Taekwondo, Mr. Larson taught us to sprawl. When I learned BBJ, or BJJ rather, I learned that I'm getting on my back and I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Fuck that shit. So what I told him was, if the guy's coming to grab me, my elbows are going in his shoulder blades, and my knees are going into his liver and his sternum as best I can. So I'm going to clap down on him while he's tackling me, because he's going to try to scoop slam me, and he ain't going to scoop slam me without feeling some goddamn pain. This will work because I have done this before. So you can clap down and put him in a headlock and flip the ass, or you can get body slammed. And I told him, they ain't body slamming me because I'm going to clap down and my elbows is going to his fucking back. And it's like, that's illegal. You can't do that. I said, let me get this straight. It's called MMA, Mixed Martial Arts. It's a street fight that's sanctioned in a cage. And I can't put my knees into his liver and his sternum. And I can't put my elbows in his back. So then you tell me where the fuck in street fighting that there's a rule that says I can't do that. Well, this is MMA, and the rules state that you can't eye gouge. I respect that. You can't kick them in the nuts. I respect that. You can't purposely break a kneecap or an elbow. I do not respect that, because that's what I was fucking taught to do. You cannot knee people in the area above the private parts, which is your bladder. You can't hit people in the bladder. That's not something that you can do. It's one of my target zones, but it's not what you can do. You can't purposely punch people in the sternum. You can hit them anywhere but in the sternum. I was like, well, you know, you work your abs to protect that, but clearly that was against the rules, and I can't elbow you in the 3 vertebrae that is between your neck and your spine, where your neck and your back, your fucking shoulder blades. So I can't vertebrae strike you there. So I'm like, okay, so you just took out 95% of the shit that I was taught. So now I'm stuck with 4 moves. A right jab and a cross, a right uppercut and a cross, a fucking front kick, or a side kick. So 5 moves. I'm down to that. I can't use the judo that I was taught. I can't use the Brazilian jiu-jitsu unless I'm on my back and I gotta figure out how to keep this guy from dropping bowls on my fucking head. But I couldn't clap his ass as soon as he tackled me. So he's gonna be able to pick me up and body slam me, because that's what most people do when you're only 5'3". Most people think if they can just slam you, they can stop you, which is not always the case. I have been slammed before. I have not been stopped. So that being said, he went through all these fucking rules. It's like, well, goddamn, I'm kind of glad I didn't get in there. They would have banned me for life. Because you can't use kill zones. You can't use pressure points. You can't twist fingers back. You can't pull back thumbs. I can't put my finger into that little spot right there to push the point in where I was taught in Kempo. I can't put my hands into these indentions. But this guy can drop elbows in my fucking eye, but I can't eye gouge. This guy can break my face, but I can't elbow him in the spine while he's doing it. And you know, if you see a lot of these guys, when they get top mount, they got one leg locked in there, and all of this is exposed, but the other guy's doing this because he's covering up. But he's not thinking rib shot, you know. He's not thinking that shit, because in the heat of battle, you're not thinking shit. The only you're thinking is how much this shit fucking hurts every time he lays one in on you. And I've watched this shit, and it's like, you know, we got side mount. So the guy's on the side, and the arm's sticking out, and he's trying to get him in either the Fujiwara, or he's just holding him in side mount, and he's just trying to drop elbows on this motherfucker. He's dropping balls on his fucking head, so the guy's like this. Instead of trying to fight the fuck back, he's trying to cover up. And I'm like, dude, that shit would have never happened to me. He said, how you figure? I said, because this motherfucker would have never got me on the ground. Again, how you figure? I said, because as soon as this motherfucker go for the tackle, he's going to eat a fucking knee. Right in the chest, right in the sternum, wherever the fuck that bitch land, I don't give a fuck, but it's going to land. And the guy explained to me that that's illegal. And I said, let me get this right. It is a sanctioned street fight, but all the moves that I've ever done in my life in street fights are illegal. Henceforth, it's a controlled environment. Yeah, street fights, I can hit you, boom, and I can elbow you, I can forearm you, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can drive this knee into your sternum and bring that bitch out your back, and no one's gonna say I couldn't do that shit because they're next. But no, for MMA, you couldn't do that. And then there was the fact that they didn't have my weight class from my 20s until my middle 40s. So by the time I got 44, they finally had my weight class, 115 to 125. And I don't have my hip replacement, so no one's going to sign me. No one's going to endorse me. Nike wasn't going to pay me. None of that shit was going to happen. So I didn't even bother, because I knew when they found out that this big-ass scar on my leg, just so that y'all can see that, this is not a freaking illusion, you know, this big-ass scar on my leg. Plus, the doctors had told me from the jump, they told me straight from the jump, Mr. Williams, you will never do Kung Fu again. You will never do Wushu. You will never do Wing Chun. You will never do Taekwondo. You will never, ever, ever do karate. You won't be doing Kempo. You won't be doing fucking Judo. You won't be doing BJJ. You won't be doing MMA. You won't be doing shit. You can jog now. You can jog. You can't run, but you can jog. You won't be doing any kickboxing. You won't be doing any Thai fighting. You won't be doing any Aikido. Any martial art that you know, that you've studied, out the window, fella. You're not doing that shit anymore. Like, dude, I can't live without that. That's the only thing I have. I don't have nothing. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have children. I can't drive my car because I'm on drugs, because y'all gave them to me for this hip. Don't tell me that I can't do Kung Fu anymore. It's the only thing that's keeping me alive right now. So I got a bow and arrow. That's right. I got a bow and arrow and started calling myself the Typhoon Warrior. Why? Because the doctor said that this will be your hobby. So that you can read that. The Typhoon Warrior. So for like the first 2 years of my hip replacement, after my father had passed, all I did was shoot this bow and arrow. I haven't shot in a year. I haven't had the time since I started going back to school for police science and criminal justice. It's not what I want, but I need a job. I'd much rather be making movies. But I gotta do what I gotta do until someone decides, hey, we like that guy. Let's follow him on Instagram. Let's follow him on YouTube. Let's do that shit. And here's the thing. If Instagram and them would have been more popular 19 years ago, I would be more popular than all of you. Because I invented a lot of the shit that a lot of these people are doing. Nunchucks catching them in the elbow. Nobody does that but me. That's mine. If I see any of you guys doing that, I can sue you. Because I got video from way back in the 90s on my original YouTube channel, Kung Fu Havoc #1, of me doing that. Before half of y'all even picked up a pair of nunchucks. While y'all was still in diapers, I was fighting. While y'all was still in diapers, before Tito Ortiz and them got really, really big with ground and pound, I was doing my shit. But I couldn't get discovered to save my dick. Which goes back to, there's a difference between fighting and knowing you can fight and thinking you can fight. A lot of kicks and shit look real good in the movies. You ain't gonna get a chance to do a jump and spin kick. Not a jump and spin and back kick. You might get a tornado kick in there. And if you watch some of these people on Instagram, you can see that sometimes it works. It works in a controlled environment because it's a controlled environment. No. It's flashy. It gets people who's scouting for movies your attention. But in a real fight, things are a whole lot different when your opponent knows their way around the fight. Things are a whole lot different when your opponent can fight. And they're just as good as you, if not better than you. Now, sometimes the best fighter doesn't always win. In a point system, you can never have a knockout and lose every fight by points. You can lose every fight by a draw, by a TKO. But in a real fight, there ain't no damn points. It's you, it's me, and the ground. And one of us is going there. It's just that simple. If you're coming to attack me, I'm going to knee you in the face. I'm going to clap my elbows into your spine. I'm going to do everything I can to stop you from moving. Because we're not going to have my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills that I suck at be an option. So you come at me and I cluck you in the face with a forearm or an elbow, you had it coming. Yeah, if I hit you with a knee and I hit you here and I catch you in those 3 bones where it's the middle of your spine and your neck meeting the base of your entire spine, that's a dangerous place to get hit. Of course, the first people are going to tell me, well, they didn't teach us that in Kempo because the Kempo you're learning ain't the same Kempo I learned. Alright? Kempo taught me about pressure points. You have 365 of them damn things. 250 will kill you. The trick is, as a fighter, I gotta find an opening to get to it. I'm not gonna automatically get to your defenses like in the movies and Steven Seagal the fuck out of you. That's not gonna happen. It's gonna be either I'm really good and I can do it, or I'm mediocre and I can attempt. We're gonna go with me being mediocre and I'm gonna attempt, because you may have skills. And if I can't get through your skills, I can't hurt you. But I got experience. I got patience. So I don't have to have a lot of skills. I just have to wait for you to fuck up. Or to quote Rocky Balboa, I gotta go the distance. I gotta be in just enough shape to stop you from fucking me up. And in a real fight, that's what I rely on. I rely on you to look at my skinny, scrawny ass and say, oh, he's 100 and nothing. I got this. I like it when you think like that, because every person I've ever fought has never been under 5'3". They've always been bigger, and they've always lost, because the first thing they do, they look at me, they see a skinny, scrawny motherfucker. Surprise, bitches, I got skills. So remember this if you're going to get into a fight. 2 things. It ain't how big you are, it's what you know. It ain't who you know, it's what you know. It ain't what you see in the movies, it's what you can actually do. And don't get me wrong, you can do some of that shit in the movies. I'm gonna not put a lot of stock in that because movie fighting ain't the same. It looks good, it looks cool, it's great, it's fantastic. It brings in the tickets, brings in the money. But I can almost guarantee you, if you try to reverse tornado kick on me, I better have already been fucked up. Now, we're doing that in the movie and I was supposed to take that reverse tornado kick and fall down. Done deal. Cut the check. But in real life, if you try that reverse tornado kick, there's so many ways that I can escape that shit. The best way, to be honest, is a sidestep and a ridge hand. You know? Simple. Simple shit. In any fight that you will ever know, the best damn thing you can ever do is keep that shit simple. Stay with basics. Because if you're trying to get fancy, if you're going to get fancy, you know, be basic fancy. Boom, boom, boom. You know? See? No balance. Left hip was replaced. So, you know, boom, boom, boom. There's no room for a kick, but that should have been a kick. You will learn your niche when you're fighting. Boom, boom, boom. You know, or if you're going to do Kung Fu, boom, 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 boom. You know, you're going to do that from this side for Kung Fu. You step to the outside, block, smack. Block low. See, block, boom. Block, break, strike. Simple as that. For karate, block, counter. Counter, block. You know, you're going to do that all day if you're both good with karate. So you got to switch your styles up. So, boom. You know, this is for protection. Because he's going to have a foot or a punch or anything coming that way. Boom, boom. Where if you're doing karate, it's boom. Or it's boom. And you got to counter his throwing a punch. So he throws a left, you block with your right. You counter with the left, but he blocks with the right. You're blocking and countering all damn day. Wax on, wax off. But with that Kung Fu, when you block and get to the outside, break the elbow, slide down the arm, in the throat, or hit the rib, or hit the liver, you're going to do some damage. So in a real fight, you know, the key is to not panic. Remember what you've been taught. Remember what you learned. And then when the fight goes, don't even have a plan. Except for one. Survival. Because if you go into a fight thinking your plan's going to work, it ain't. Every fight I've been in, I've had a plan. There's only one plan. Survive that shit. Motherfuckers don't understand it. You got combat stress, and you're going to get hit. It's two things that people don't tell you when you're taking martial arts. In real life, you are going to get hit in a controlled environment if we're doing push hands. You're going to know that we're just doing push hands. If I try to strike it, you're going to block it because we're doing push hands. Now if I go here and you push it up and I go here, you're going to push it back down and we're going to do push hands. Where that helps you for your training for this, for when someone's throwing a punch. Boom, 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 boom. You have your blocks. Boom, 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 boom. You know, you're going to have that. But, like I said, in a controlled environment, in a dojo, you're set. But when you get out in that street, you need to know if your shit gonna work. And now I'm gonna piss off a bunch of martial artists. Alright? I'm gonna piss you off. I honestly think that all schools, you should fight for your belt. No one agrees with me, and that's fine. But I swear to fucking God that if I'm gonna teach you how to fight, the shit needs to work. So I think that you should fight for your belts. I think that you should get armored up. You know, get your Kung Fu gear on. You got your protective vest, your cup, your knee pads, and your shin guards, your elbow pads, and your fucking gloves, and your fucking headgear. I think that you should be able to do that. And I think that you should fight for your belts. And the reason I say that is because you won't know how good you are until you need to be good. It's just that simple. You can be good up here. And sometimes it will transfer. But if you get into a situation where you're fighting someone who you've never seen before, who has a good martial art background and great training, and they've been fighting more than most of their life, and I ain't talking about tournament fighting, I'm talking about straight up fucking fighting. They done came from Hong Kong or Japan, and they don't have to be Asian to come from there, but they done grew up there, and they done been beaten, and they done had this shit beat into them so well that they know how to use the shit in a real fight as well as in the stage. You got a fucking problem. And you need to know that whatever you're going to learn at that dojo is going to work when you're out there. And they don't prepare you for that. So I think, and all else, before I close out, that I think no matter what school you are, no matter what state you are in America, I think you should fight for your belt. I think they should remove the brick breaking and the board breaking. I mean, that's fine for show. If you want to take the show on the road and you want to do fun martial art things and teach kids the power of might and right, and you're going to break that brick and you're going to break that board and people are going to know that you're strong. But just because you can break that board don't mean you can't get your ass kicked when you walk outside. And that's why I said we should all fight for our belts. We should, for every level. Now, you get the highest rank in yellow belt, which would be the green belt. Get that guy to fight the yellow belt, so the yellow belt can understand how this shit works. And the guy in the yellow belt wants to become a green belt, he needs to fight a green belt. The guy in the green belt wants to become the next belt, which I think is blue, depending on the school you go to. He needs to fight the highest ranking blue belt. Not the guy that's above him, like immediately. The guy that's way above him, so that he knows what he's getting into. And then go on and on. You fight the top belt in the class of belt that you're trying to get to, so that you know where you need to work. And it also helps those guys know what they need to work out. They don't lose the rank if they lose the fight. The other guy just got a belt. He doesn't get their belt, but that teaches them how to improve their belt game. Because when they elevate to the next level, they're going to want to fight for their belts. And I'm going to say this because I'm not Chinese. I'm going to say this because I'm not Japanese. I am American, and I'm going to say this. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm going to piss you off. If you are not of the two Asian descents in Korea, or of any Asian descent, and you are a 12 or 13-year-old kid in America, you should not have a black belt. I'm sorry. That belt does not belong to you. You should not be wearing that shit. Because I can tell you right now, if you're 12 years old and you're a black belt, and you can't beat me as a white belt novice, you don't need that belt. Because they gave you a false sense of security. Not that I'm going to go around fighting 12 and 13-year-olds, because that's my size, but that's not what I would do. And it's the same thing no matter what your age is. If you're going around thinking that that belt is a certified notice to everyone that you're a badass, don't get it twisted. Belts only hold up your pants. They don't really mean shit. That's just like a dojo stigma for you to get rank, which is why I said all dojos should just eliminate belts. But if they're not going to eliminate them, at least make the motherfuckers fight for them. That way they'll know what level they're on. Because you can be a high-level yellow belt and get your ass beat by a white belt in the streets because you're so used to Tosan. I can't remember it. And Tungu, where you make the star from Naharate. So if you don't really fight for your belts, how do you know you are good? You don't. I'm James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Number 2. Be seeing you.